Welcome everybody to Class REDACTED, the show where we delve deep into the terrifying world of SCP and focus on the more unknown and underappreciated parts of this beautifully terrifying universe. Because this is, if you've seen our previous videos, very, very, very big. And certain things are hidden so deep beneath the surface that even I sometimes miss them. So, yeah, I'm sorry for any inconsistencies and things that I've got wrong in the previous Sarkic episode. If you haven't seen that one, go watch it, because we're gonna be doing a Sarkicism part 2. We're doing the OROK'S fall episode, which is this one, now, because things happened. I got sick, and I had no time for research of the other topic, so we're gonna do that Sarkic topic someday else, some other day. This time we're gonna do OROK'S fall. But of course, I'm not alone. The other boys are here. The full squad is back. Say hello, everyone.
Hello there.
Howdy.
Hello, everyone.
V's also back. Hey, the full gang is back after
Yay!
I don't know how many months. We're back, and we are. I'm happy. I'm happy that the gang has finally returned. So yeah, Sarkicism Part 2. This SCP-2408, also known as OROK'S fall, is gonna be having some things that were set up in the previous Sarkic episode. So if you want to know about who these weird cultist flesh people are, go watch that one. We're doing SCP-2408, also known as OROK'S fall. One of my personal favorite SCPs on the whole wiki. I love it. It's great. And if this video gets age restricted, I'm not even gonna be surprised. Because we're gonna be talking about hardcore shit.
100% is gonna be.
100% it's gonna be just that.
I'd like to say I'm ready, but I don't think I am.
You're probably not. Alright, so SCP-2408. Object Class Keter. Before we even start on OROK'S fall, we're gonna talk a little bit about a group of interest. Because they don't really have a lot of stuff on their own to get their own dedicated episode, but they still are interesting enough so that I wanted to cover them. Because today, or before we start, we're gonna talk about GRU Division P.
It's the, Soviet...
The Russians.
Yes, or just group, as they're abbreviated to, GRU-P, group. GRU Division P, the P stands for Psychotronics, which is a pretty great name, I have to say so myself. They were a secret military group that were created under Stalin during World War II times. They were mainly used to investigate the murder of a Bolshevik leader called Kirov. I'm also sorry to any Russians watching. I tried my best with the pronunciations, but I'm gonna have to give me some slack here. I'm not a Russian, even though I'm currently learning it, but I'm not perfect yet. So I'm sorry if I pronounce things incorrectly. Alright, so the GRU Division P was, like I said, used for investigation who murdered leader Kirov. The history books actually just tell you that he got shot. He got shot and assassinated by some guy. What actually happened was he was killed by a, and I quote, a construct invasive reality discrepancy.
What?
Basically an anomaly.
Oh.
He died through anomalous causes. That's what the Russians call it.
Huh.
After the group found this out, Stalin got scared and pumped a bunch of funding into something called the Abnormal Occurrences Commission. Basically, the Department of Abnormalities, or like the GOC for the US. This is the GOC equivalent for the Russians, because Russian Americans always having a little bit of an arms race. It fits. However, they soon discovered that the Western countries were far more advanced in that field, the occult and anomalous field. Especially the Germans, because they did some fucked up shit in the SCP universe. You ever played Wolfenstein?
Yep.
You ever played Wolfenstein? In the Old Blood, the big crypt demon thing that the Germans had? That's canon in SCP, by the way. They did that shit.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, that's Germans, all right.
Yeah, old school Germans were fucking nuts. Even what they did in the real world, they had some blueprints for some fucked up shit.
They were definitely nuts.
Definitely, yes. So, because the Russians were basically a few steps behind of the other countries, GRU Division P was instead changed from a simple investigation group to increasing research on anomalous stuff. So they basically went through Russia and snuffed out all of the anomalous shit that they could get. The problem is that during this, they weren't exactly the very timid in their methods. And so quite a few anomalies got released and quite a few million people died due to their research. So, yay. Some of the stuff they found was pretty cool though. And they've developed, because the Russians, after finding these anomalies, they would of course use it for warfare. This was World War II times. For example, during World War II, a bunch of bombs got dropped in Europe, like we all know. There were some researchers discovered that there were more bombs found, like all the ones that didn't explode, than were recorded back in the transcripts from World War II times. That's because the Russians found out technology, thanks to GRU Division P, how to use teleportation, dimensional phasing, and anomalous explosives. So they would basically try to teleport bombs below the ground and detonate them.
What's that last one? Anomalous explosives.
Yeah.
They tried telefragging.
Yeah, they tried they tried it and they failed because they didn't blow up. But they tried. They tried, of course. The Foundation currently is unsure how many projects the Russians had back then, but it's probably a lot. After the fall of the Iron Curtain, however, GRU Division P, as well as all of their data, disappeared. They were just gone. And they were no longer operating in any capacity. At least officially. Even though the group is defunct, some ex-members still operate, and they're still collaborating with other ex-members. So it's kind of like an underground, no longer government-funded group, basically.
Ah, yes, the good old Russians.
Yes, exactly.
Doing what Russians do.
The Foundation says that even though they are no longer officially a threat, they are still supposed to be viewed as a potential group of interest. Anderson Robotics also is defunct because the leader got bodied. We're going to be talking about him when we get to Anderson Robotics. But they also still operate. So it's kind of a situation like that where they're not at their full power, but they're still a threat to the Foundation, like most people are that do anomalous stuff. So yeah, that was GRU Division P. A quick little background on them because they're not super big, so I can't do a whole episode on them, but I wanted to cover them because they're cool. Alright, so let's get, after 20 minutes of build-up, into the actual topic. 2408 OROK'S Fall. I'm excited. So, SCP-2408 are several anomalies, all connected to GOI number 0432, also known as the Hunter's Black Lodge. The Black Lodge is a is a criminal Sarkic cult, primarily active in the post-Soviet Russian states. The locations where the Black Lodge is active have members designated SCP-2408-1, which are basically anomalous humans that can change their physical form at will. So we're basically dealing with an anomalous Russian mafia.
When you say change their forms, do you mean like the classic flash transformation that we expect from Sarkics, or something different?
You're gonna be hearing it in a lot of detail right now because there is a fun little list where everything is categorized, and I'm gonna read that one right now.
Yeah.
The people, the members of the Hunter's Black Lodge, are able to increase their muscle mass by a factor of 2 or 3 than normal adult humans. They have higher bone density. They can reach upwards of 6 times the amount of testosterone production, and around 4 times the amount of adrenaline production. They can enlarge their organs, as well as other parts of their bodies, like hands, feet, heads, etc. Or also fingers and stuff. Their brain doesn't get bigger, which is pretty funny, because they cannot grow their brain, so they can only grow their body, basically. They're also able to manifest certain non-human features, primarily animal features. For example, certain members can develop stuff like bear claws, wolf teeth, big ass antlers,
That's
or
pretty cool.
tentacles. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Tentacles,
Pretty awesome.
of course.
Of course, there were tentacles in the story.
The tentacles are the least common one. It's usually wolves and bears. It's Russians.
Yeah, of course.
So
Understandable.
it's kind of like werewolves. Or
Kind of, sort of, yes.
Kind of like Russians.
Yeah.
or that.
They can also change from bipedal to quadrupedal movement. And they also have amplified senses, strength, speed, and also regenerative capability. So they heal wounds much faster.
Very werewolf-like.
Yeah. These people, these instances, are able to also reverse these changes, which is actually very rare among Sarki communities. They usually change into one form and then stay that form forever. But they can change back to their normal human form, which is actually pretty rare. These transformations take about 10 to 30 seconds, depending on how drastic the transformation is. So yeah, we are dealing with an anomalous werewolf Russian mafia.
That's one of the objectives.
I know that that's the SCP Universe, and in the SCP Universe, that's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
But still, magic Russian mafia.
Hey, it's pretty cool. Come on, it's pretty cool.
And it's a flesh cult.
And it's flesh cult.
And it's a
yes.
flesh cult. They're probably cannibals as well. Wonderful.
So, the group was discovered during a operation back in the 90s called Operation Falkenrath, which is pretty awesome name. I have to say, the Foundation is good at naming
Wait.
stuff.
I think I've heard that name somewhere before.
Operation Falkenrath.
Not the Falcon. I think it's a Magic the Gathering card.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, Falcon Rat
Wait,
is
what?
it's Anya Falcon Rat. It's a vampire legendary.
Yeah.
Pretty good one.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yep, Operation Falkenrath is their operation title.
Neat.
This operation was made to gather intel on the whereabouts and also on the life of the Black Lodge members. Because they have also found out that the Black Lodge is still a mafia, so they do a bunch of illegal shit. This illegal shit includes the distribution and the production of 2 types of anomalous drugs. One of them is called RAF, also known as NIEF. I think that's how you pronounce it in Russian. And that is a stimulant that basically grants you immense muscle and bone growth. Yeah, where you basically swell up to this like big ass, like a comically large muscular. It's like Senator Armstrong looking motherfuckers, basically. that you swell up to. It's super dumb.
Or like Bane.
Bane, yeah.
Bane, yes, Bane is a good example.
Venom from.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
When they try to hit you, you just say, why aren't you taking any damage? You say, meth, son.
Excessive use will quote unquote overload the user and will result in death. Basically, you explode.
Oh.
A fun side effect.
It's excessive use. It's excessive use. This stimulant was made out of an unknown anomalous animal material designated SCP-2408-2A. The second drop is known as Lust or Pochot, I think.
Pochot, yeah.
Yes.
You're right.
This stimulant is being not only inside of Russia, but it's also currently shipped out globally to Europe, the Middle East, and also China. And it is a popular club drug. It's basically like the final level of Viagra is basically what it is. I'm not even joking. This is like extreme level Viagra shit. You inject it via taking they come in like small glass bottles, and you snort the liquid, basically, is how you inject it.
So this is where all the horny is coming from.
Yes. It's made via insufflation. Since I work in the health industry, I know what insufflation is. It is basically using like compressed air to shoot a fluid into your body.
Oh.
Ew.
And it's primarily through the nose. So the guy sticks like this thing in his nose, and then it goes, and then it's and then the drug has been injected. The effect of the lost drug grants hallucinations, heart palpitations, very high amounts of increased sexual arousal, and feelings of euphoria. This drug is more addictive than fucking heroin.
Jesus.
Oh wow.
Wonderful.
This is a big problem in SCP Universe Russia. People are fucking addicted to this shit. And they are shipping it out across the entire world right now. This is made out of another anomalous material designated SCP-2408-2B. They also distribute a lot of biological agents, including anomalous viruses and toxins. The most prevalent of those is something called the Red Death virus.
Ooh.
And there is a sentence, the sentence on the wiki is, I quote, already classified as SCP Redacted, information regarding the Red Death is presently only available on a need-to-know basis. The thing is, though, because the redacted SCP can actually be figured out via some image manipulation and some text manipulation, this is SCP-610.
That's what I was gonna guess.
This is the flesh that hates. They make that shit.
Oh fuck.
They make that shit. They make the flesh that hates.
I hate hearing flesh that hates because
Yeah,
it's a
I
direct
understand.
connection to another word.
Yes, and it's very bad. But yes,
Ugh.
these people, these fuckers, are the reason why the flesh that hates exists.
It's just got a whole lot better.
Oh yes, this is the crazy connections that I've told you, that this is connected to fucking 610. One of the original Sarkic SCPs is 610.
God damn.
Victims of the Black Lodge, people that they don't like, are usually impaled on large organic spikes made out of bones and stuff. Other methods include cannibalizing victims. There you have it, V. There's your cannibals.
Yep.
As well as total dismemberment, so that you're not even recognizable as a human anymore.
So Russians be doing what Russians be doing historically. It's
Exactly.
nothing
Yes.
new, I guess.
The corpses of victims by the Black Lodge also have lots of like animal injuries, bloody hoof prints, like impalement by large antlers, bite marks with like wolf and dog teeth, because they are anomalous. They can change to like animal forms basically, and of course they use it to kill fuckers because that's just what they do.
I mean, yeah. If you have the option.
The reason why the Foundation even knows about this group is because back during the Iron Curtain days, the Foundation has been given a large amount of documents that were made by GRU Division P from an anonymous source. These documents say that group actually tried to neutralize the Black Lodge, but was unable to. And members of group back then say that the Black Lodge is a, quote, never-ending hydra, always springing up in new places once you exterminate one of the hideout places. For example, we also got these documents in the SCP article. Here's actually a description of the Black Lodge by GRU Division P. It reads, quote, GSI Black Lodge designates a criminal organization which has augmented its illegal and deviant activity through anomalous means. The Black Lodge currently operates throughout the USSR, but is suspected to be headquartered in Moscow at a location referred to by the criminal class as the Old Altar. Information about this location has been primarily gathered from ritual survivors Samuel T. Oh god, Ankuniov.
Ankudinov.
Yes. Executed for criminal involvement once survival was deemed no longer necessary. So yeah, they chill in Moscow. And so the Foundation basically said, oh, okay, we now know where they are. And they deployed a Foundation agent to execute Operation Falkenrath. And let me take you back 20 years, probably. The 11th of April, 1994. The Operation Falkenrath begins. A agent known as Agent S, we're not given a full name, just S, is tasked with infiltrating the Black Lodge and finding out as much information as possible. Agent S is part of the MTF Unit Psi-13, or the Witch Hunters, which is a combined force from Foundation and GOC operatives. They're tasked with infiltrating Sarkic organizations, and termination of high-ranking members is of highest priority to them. So they basically sneak into the groups, become a member, and then shank a knife in the leader's back, basically. Agent S was deployed to Moscow under a fake alias as a contract killer in order to gain a reputation in the criminal underbelly to get in contact with the Black Lodge.
This sounds very interesting so far.
So far, it sounds like, I don't know, a great thriller mixed with the worst parts of a Cthulhu mythology.
First part is party horror.
Yeah.
A very good description.
After a few days, or no, a week, sorry, after a few weeks of being a contract killer, he actually got contacted by the Black Lodge they instructed him to go to, V, you gotta help me on this one.
Krasny Feneri.
Yes, this is the name of a nightclub.
Yeah.
Called Red Lanterns.
Yep.
It's a club and strip club located in a Russian district. Members allegedly practice forced prostitution, human trafficking, weapons trafficking, illegal narcotic distribution. Yeah, that's basically it. It's bad enough already. I don't need to list more stuff.
That's enough.
Local law enforcement has quote unquote tried to neutralize them, even though the Foundation suspects that they are already corrupt with the Black Lodge. So they work with them. Since Agent S, wasn't allowed or couldn't bring any recording equipment to the club, he needed to transmit the information in some other way. And this is the dumbest thing in this article, the greatest thing simultaneously. The way that the Foundation gets access to his information. It's done by a dead drop. Basically, you take like a message, you drop it off somewhere and someone gathers it. But the way how they do it, it's so fucking dumb. I have to fucking talk about this one. Basically, he would write the message on a piece of paper. And he would put the piece of paper inside of an empty like beer bottle or some shit. He would then go outside of his apartment and throw it in a specific trash can that's a few hundred meters away from it. Then another Foundation agent who was also has a fake name basically. He was disguised as a homeless guy who lived next to the trash cans. And is a Foundation agent, a fucking top of the line Secret Service agent, disguised as a homeless man in a Russian ghetto.
Jesus.
Right.
And he would periodically check this trash can, and he would then like rummage through it, check if there's any the message. He would then get the message, extract it, photograph it, and then he would burn the piece of paper in like one of these burning barrels, the classic shit.
Yeah.
And then he would send that photograph to a Russian containment site, who would then send it further to Overwatch Command. It is the dumbest shit ever, but this shows the lengths of what the Foundation is willing to do to get info.
That's so overcomplicated, but it's so much the Foundation.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Literally, I envisioned like the boardroom meeting for the O5. Okay, we're gonna send this homeless guy in, right?
He's not a homeless guy, he's one of our top agents instead.
So dumb. It is so dumb. So yeah, that was the setup. The Agent S now in contact with the Black Lodge, and he goes into one of their clubs, one of their hideout places. The article is then split up into several different missives. Of course, all the notes that Agent S was writing. I'm not gonna read this out. I'm just gonna paraphrase it, of course, because there are lots of details, lots of fluff. SCP article style. It's always written like that. Agent S has entered the nightclub at 9 p.m. on January 25th, 1995, carrying a pistol on him. He then got escorted into the club up to the VIP suite. Agent S stayed in the nightclub until 8 a.m. on the 29th.
Oh.
He stayed in there for 4 days.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Well, and he wrote down exactly what happened. Basically, S was brought upstairs to a big big dinner table with 6 men and 1 very old woman sitting there. At the far end was the leader of the Black Lodge, or the supposed leader, a guy called Otari Iosava, I think, also known as Sver,
Zver,
is his
which basically
other name.
translates to beast.
He sat directly. He sits directly across from Otari, I think, and they just start talking. Doing some criminal speak, basic shit. After a few exchanges, the old elderly woman whispered something into Otari's ear, and then Agent S got a look at the old lady. She didn't really look like your normal Russian old lady. She had a bunch of tattoos over her entire body, and she was super pale, like almost white. Like not white, but just literally like bright white skin. The two joked again, and the waitress brought some vodka, and of course, as tradition, they poured their own shots, and they drank together. After he drank the shot, S blacked out. And after what, he doesn't know how long he's been there, he wakes up, chained to the floor, naked, and a ball gag in his mouth.
Ooh.
Yeah, sounds pretty
He also-
standard.
Yep.
He also got a sack over his head, which she says that it's not that weird because the Red Lanterns is a BDSM strip club. It makes
I
sense.
see.
Yeah.
It's
It
pretty
makes
standard.
sense.
Could be worse, to be honest.
After lying there for 2 hours, people came and cut him loose, and he got dragged away. He heard, in the background, he heard some Russian speakers, and then also, of course, some Sarkic ritual stuff, because the Sarkics have their own language. He then was brought into this big room and chained to a marble pillar via a chain around his neck. Along with 4 other guys, because the hood was removed from him, and he saw 4 other guys in a circle, all being chained to the neck. He basically wasn't like a Colosseum, like an old-ass Colosseum from Greek times.
Oh.
And with lots of people in the crowd. And not just like thugs or homeless guys in the crowd. No, some of them were wearing like ceremonial robes, but some of them were also like business suits. Like actual high money, like big money people were in there. Then he got stabbed or bitten, he doesn't really remember, and he then basically blacked out and only got to hear the sounds. And then after, he don't know how long it was, but it was probably like hours or days, he doesn't know. He heard the sounds of bones being broken, like flesh being cut off, eyes gouged out, and he also got force-fed the flesh of the other guys.
Damn.
Oh.
So some weird blood ritual. After it was all over, the crowd erupted in celebration. They were having a fucking blast. They were like tons of drugs, tons of food, tons of sex. They were fucking going.
Yeah.
However, all he noticed, because he could still open his eyes after hours of being ritualized, that all of the practices always had some kind of violent tendencies to them. So people intentionally overdosed, they were force-fed, like food was being shoved down their throats. You got sexual torture and stuff, kind of that shit. So we now know that the Black Lodge is that kind of Sarkic cult. They're really like, blood and rituals and violence and stuff.
The cut away the weak flesh so stronger flesh can grow in its place, kind.
Exactly, yes, because not all Sarkics are that way, but they're one of the extreme ones. After 4 days, S woke up in his apartment, being literally covered from head to toe in dry blood. How no one noticed him or questioned him is beyond me, but hey,
I think it.
I don't know, man.
I think people have noticed him, but would you talk to a guy who's literally red with blood?
Yeah,
when you
no.
see something like that, you don't ask questions and you kind of just accept it as a thing.
It's in Russia as well, so.
Yeah,
like that.
you
Exactly.
don't ask questions. You just forget that you ever saw it and continue on with your life.
You see him on the street and you say, damn, it's Tuesday already?
He also, next to all the dry blood, he had a tattoo on his chest. And this tattoo was a symbol of a skull with like horns and tusks in it. This is the tattoo that he got. It looks pretty cool. It looks pretty awesome, I have to say. And so, of course, this tells us that he has been accepted into the Black Lodge. From this day onward, Agent S would bring the Foundation bi-weekly updates. At least that was the plan. The next missive was on the 4th of February, 1995, and he got his first job from the Black Lodge, a gun running job, pretty standard for young gangsters, basically. The good thing is he found more information against Abrax's arms or Abrax's arms, which is a Sarkic oligarchy family that was big into weapons, into weapon trafficking. We talked about them a little bit in the previous episode, not that important. However, he also found out that the Black Lodge are not just normal thugs. They're not just normal gangster types. They also have something called the Great Mothers. These are the old women from earlier, the one that whispered something into Otari's ears or ear. And they are there's 12 of them, all placed in other hideouts for the Black Lodge. They are very, very old, and they wear like long black dresses, a red scarf around their neck, and also a leather apron, kind of like resembling a butcher. Basically, the Foundation thinks, of course, not the Foundation thinks, but we also know that with our knowledge, these are Volatar. These are the one rank below Karsists, the female servants, basically, of Karsists. We of course know that they're those, but they're very noticeably too old. Usually, Volatar are very young. They're like ancient. Some members refer to them as Karsists, but of course, a Karsist is like busted as fuck. So they're not Karsists. They're just weird old people. Mm-hmm. The next missive was made around a month later, on the 10th of March, 1995, and where Agent S was brought into the areas below the Red Lanterns. Because it turns out that the Red Lanterns strip club was built on top of an old Russian bunker connected to the metro. However, the deeper he went, the weirder it became. Because the metro stations were connected to crypts and dungeons and an altar room and an underground church.
Oh.
That all had like old school Gothic style of architecture.
Jesus.
He doesn't really know what to think of this. But it is of course known that Moscow used to be a Sarkic settlement. So it might just be some remnants of the things. You know, kind of like the old catacombs you find below churches in the real world.
Yeah.
Kind of like it's like those. It's like those.
Gothic that would be pre-revolutions, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
more or less.
So it's very old. Well, relatively.
It's very old. It's very old.
It's actually really plausible that things like that exist because after the Bolshevik Revolution, a lot of old stuff that was considered Tsarist and religion-like was either like destroyed or something was built on top of that. Yeah. This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty well written. Of course, it's gonna get horrible and terrible soon, but we've not reached that point yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
S also found one of the Great Mothers, a label 5 by the Black Lodge members, who was actually willing to speak to him about, the Black Lodge and about what the fuck is all of these like torture dungeons below the strip club. Yeah. She actually told them where the Black Lodge started. It actually started during 1951, when a big prison break happened in a Siberian gulag. The leader was actually August Iosava, the father of Otari, who orchestrated the prison break and rebuilt the Black Lodge. After, of course, he learned all of the stuff, how the Black Lodge became, and how they basically got the Sarkic connections, because August actually found all 12 of the Great Mothers, and they started adopting the Sarkic ways. The class. Sarkicism is very old, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
We also find out that back in the day, Moscow was not actually called Moscow. It was instead called OROK'S Fall.
Oh, credits.
Not yet. We're not done yet. We're barely halfway into this.
This is just the title screen.
Yeah.
Name drop.
The texts, the old Sarkic texts, actually say that, quote, Orok's fall was the place where the Saint of War sacrificed himself for the old blood and gods. Basically, this is where Klavigar Orok died, in order to help Ion achieve his apotheosis. This is a pretty important place for the Sarkics. One of the big Klavigar, one of the big Cyclops dude died here in order to help Ion achieve his apotheosis and reach the god Yaldabaoth. 5 also said that the Sarkics don't say that, the Moscow has streets or places. They instead refer to as lungs, hearts, and skulls of OROK'S fall.
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
Missive number 4 is on the 18th of April, 1995. And it starts with a request from Agent S. After this missive, he wants his full name, as well as everything he had done for the Foundation expunged from Foundation records. He wants it gone. If he survives Operation Falkenrath, he requests immediate Class A amnestic treatment. That is because Otari was said to, quote-unquote, leave a message. Basically, a high-ranking member of the Ministry of Internal Affairs found the Black Lodge and wants to crack down on them with police force. Otari ordered his men to target his family, mainly his wife and child, and bring them somewhere.
Oh no.
So yeah, remember those torture dungeons we talked about 5 minutes ago?
Oh god.
Yep.
They're going in there. And so, of course, because S can't blow his cover, he has to do it. And so he says, please, if I ever get out of this, fucking delete my mind. Please. Which was accepted, but the Foundation said, yes, of course, we will do that. Of course, if someone asks them to give them amnestic treatment, of course they're gonna fucking give them to them.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
It's a forget-me juice. The Foundation likes their forget-me juice.
Forget-me juice.
Yeah.
Of course.
I hate the forget-me juice.
The next missive was made 4 days later, and S spoke to 5 again, and she told him actually about Ion and his teachings. Which is weird, because the Black Lodge is like a new wave of Sarkic cults. So this must mean that these Great Mothers, because they're all like super ancient women, are probably hundreds of years old. And they're like proto-Sarkicism guys. So from the old ways, basically. Because the Great Mothers also don't like a lot of the things that the Black Lodge do. They don't like the torture and the raiding and the everything like that. They like the old ways of practicing. Like classic sacrifices, classic blood ritual stuff, but basic Sarkic shit.
Yeah.
None of those crazy shit that the Black Lodge does.
Nothing too complicated.
No need for torture when murder is perfectly valid, I guess.
Exactly! You get to the fun part immediately!
You don't have to make them suffer, just kill them!
Exactly!
Fucking Sarkics, man.
This is gonna get so age restricted.
Oh, definitely 100%. 5 also showed him something called the Arena, which is basically a gigantic pit fighting ring with 6 doors. 6 guys go in, 1 guy leaves. It's basically a big battle royale in there. Yeah.
They made Fortnite real.
Yes, and it is it is even worse than Fortnite.
I hate myself for that joke.
It's fine. I hate you too.
I know.
I see Battle Royale, man.
Honestly, I'm waiting
that
for it.
would be good.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for the anomaly battle royale.
That
Lots
would
of
be...
probability it will arrive.
It will be good.
S isn't sure if that arena is for a ritual or just for shits and giggles. He probably thinks it's both.
A bit of both.
But the thing is that a lot of Russian people actually come down to see these fights. From like standard like minimum wage guys to high-ranking billionaires. It's like a big underground show where lots of people attended.
Yeah, living under Stalin will do that to you.
5 and the rest of the Great Mothers actually don't like these fights. Like I said, they're not really a fan of all the neo-Sarkic shit. They like the proto-Sarkic, the old Sarkic shit. The next missive was made a week later on the 1st of May 1975, and S was sent down to the dungeons below the Red Lanterns Club for work. Yay! The locals actually call it the basement's basement.
That's
Which is a
creepier.
stupid. Yeah.
That's police terminology, by the way.
Basically. Yeah. They're mainly, of course, used for torture, interrogations, and also organ harvesting.
Yay!
Also, just Otari sometimes goes there himself just to watch people suffer because he's a sadist fucking bitch.
Yeah.
One cell, however, is a lot different. One cell is protected by a gigantic metal door that only has like a small slit that you could peek through. When no one was looking, S actually checked the small slit and saw a man inside of that cell. He was sitting on one of those like big iron grates in a cross-legged position, completely naked. He had chains in his arms, legs, and back to completely restrict him from any type of movement. And also a huge chunk of his face was ripped out.
Oh.
Like around the nose and eyes to the forehead was just ripped out of his skull.
Jesus.
And he's now continuously bleeding in that chamber with the blood flowing down to somewhere.
So instead of 4 holes, he now has 1.
Yes,
That's
basically. A few days later, S asked 5 what about the guy he found. It's actually Otari's brother. It's Mikhail Iosava. Because and he wasn't put there because he was bad or anything. No, he volunteered to get in there. Probably for some kind of ritual. They don't really know. It's weird. But hey, he volunteered. He's also still alive, by the way. That guy is still literally like continuously bleeding, face, eyes, and nose ripped out of your head. He's still living.
regeneration.
Probably he's a Sarkic.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah. He probably has some kind of regeneration. For a moment, I was about to ask how, then I remembered the list that you told
It's
us about.
Sarkics,
Yeah.
Around halfway, the missive starts to get more incomprehensible because S is starting to lose his mind, being so around the Black Lodge members. One day, he actually he drank with some of the club members, and he woke up 2 days later in a bathroom stall with vomit and blood all over the floor and a half-eaten woman next to him.
What the fuck?
Rude.
He has
You should
no-
finish your
he has-
meal
he-
once you started.
Exactly, yes.
You shouldn't waste food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, the strippers that work at the Red Lanterns, he now notices that they're not entirely human either. They have like 3 rows of teeth, and like, do you know Melina from Mortal Kombat?
Yep.
They kind of look like her.
Yeah.
They kind of look like her.
Just
And, he also-
immediately on you.
He also noticed that the men that go into the rooms with the strippers, they never return, and so they probably get eaten.
Well, there are worse ways to go.
Exactly. Yes. Also, during the pit fights that he attends, he also notices things in the crowd that are not human either. And the longer he works in the dungeons, he hears sounds coming from somewhere. Around 3 weeks later, on the 28th of May, 1995, Agent S was declared missing in action. He nor his belongings were ever found. And that is where the missive ended. And the Foundation read all that and said, fuck, we need to fucking do something about this. And so, a raid was orchestrated. A full-on military raid. On the 4th of June 1995, the group of MTF Unit Psi 13 orchestrated a raid on the Red Lanterns Club, as well as other Black Lodge hideouts. They were equipped with incendiary weaponry, courtesy of Epsilon-9, the Fire Eaters. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it a lot. To those people don't know, MTF Epsilon-9, the Fire Eaters, are basically Pyro from TF2 times 11.
Yeah, they are great.
Yeah, they have flamethrowers, they have incendiary bullets in their weapons, they have suits where they can literally dive in lava.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
That's hardcore.
They're really cool. Yeah, they're really cool. And their flamethrowers, I feel like double-barreled. Yeah.
God damn it.
On one hand, I don't understand why 2 barrels. On the other hand, 2
You gotta
barrels.
burn some shit.
It's just
Gotta burn some
yeah.
shit.
Why's the flame?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck it, who gives a shit? It's double barrel shot, double barrel flamethrower.
It's not double
Yeah,
flamethrower,
exactly.
Who cares?
Cool as shit, that's the point.
Anyways, during the raid, the members of the Black Lodge, of course, immediately started to transform into their weird flesh, animal, human hybrid things. However, they could be very easily defended because, animals don't like fire.
Yep.
And the Foundation has a lot of fire,
Yep.
thanks to the Fire Eaters. However, even though they could very easily dispatch the Black Lodge members, it's apparent that the group only used a fraction of their manpower to defend these sites. There were a lot more people there. However, during the investigation of the Red Lanterns Club and the other cult sites, the Foundation found out something. Something that Agent S suspected pretty early on. It's SCP-2408-3. SCP-2408-3 is a, quote, megalithic temple complex located right below Moscow. This means Moscow is built on top of a 3,000-year-old church.
Oh.
It's on Moscow.
And the church is as big as Moscow itself. It is fucking huge. Moscow is built on top of a Sarkic blood temple. It's so cool. It's the coolest shit ever. I love this. This is the reason why I fucking live, because of this shit.
I'm writing this down right now.
It is approximately 3,000 years old, and which makes it the oldest building in Russia.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
2408-3 is made out of two specific materials. The outsides of the structures are made out of black granite, with some weird religious symbols carved into it. The inside is made out of hardened bones, muscle, and organs.
Pretty normal for Starkix.
So yes, we have an outside normal black temple, and then inside is just hardened flesh, and you step on some dude's heart.
Yeah.
Shit, the flash temple.
Hey, it's hardened. It's not squishy. It's like it's encased in ice. It's hardened.
That doesn't improve it a bit.
Hey, I had to try. Near the bottom of the structure is this gigantic gladiatorial arena that we found when the whole drug sex party happened in the earlier story. Also, in the middle of this arena is a large altar. When the Foundation went down there, they could see 12 corpses of elderly women hanging from the ceiling, directly above the altar. They were hanged via their stomachs got cut open and their intestines got chained on hooks, and they were hanging over the altar, continuously bleeding on the altar. Below the altar is also one of those big metal grates that catches all of the blood and guts that are dripping out of these women. The Foundation, of course, saw these gates or these grates leading to somewhere, and so they, of course, said, "Damn, if they make such a big effort of catching all the blood, guts, and stuff, what the fuck's down there?" So they sent a team down there, and they discovered the coolest thing about this entire SCP. This is amazing. SCP-2408-4. 2408-4 is a gigantic humanoid entity located beneath SCP-2408-3. So under that big there's Moscow. There's a complex, a big fucking temple complex under Moscow, and under that is a big fucking demon creature.
Inception levels of things under things here.
Exactly, yes. The entity is kneeling with both of its arms extended outwards via chains. The entity is immobile and appears practically brain dead. Some of the anomalous bodily features of it include a flat nasal slit, except for normal nose. He has Voldemort nose kind of stuff. He has no nose. Tusks and horns. 3 rows of sharp teeth. One tooth, by the way, being as big as a person. Enlarged and a heavily muscular jaw. And a partial endoskeleton outwards as well as an endoskeleton inwards, both being very durable, as well as a single eye located in the center of its face. They have Orok. They have Orok under Moscow. They keep Klavigar Orok, the big fucking Cyclops dude that bodied a Daevite princess, chained under Moscow.
That's a big boy.
So, we know that the Klavigar exists still. they are still alive, quote unquote. They're still around.
So that kind of implies that Ion existed as well, or at least somewhat true.
Ion couldn't be located yet, of course. He's, like I said, it's telling a Christian proof that Jesus existed.
Yeah.
Show me pictures.
I mean,
It ain't possible, Chief.
I mean, they did found out the date at which he would have been crucified at, because there was an eclipse, and they found an eclipse around the same time. It didn't coincide with Easter, so the church, of course, said that no.
Yeah, I see. I get it. Still, no. Ion is weird. We're gonna talk about him some other day. We'll talk about the other Klavigar. He's weird.
Alright, yeah, requires more research.
Exactly. Orok is approximately 300 meters tall when standing up and has an estimated weight of 70,000 tons.
Okay, I know this is a CP and this means nothing, but that is not physically possible.
I know.
Yeah, no.
I know.
Like, for a land mammal or land creature, that's not possible.
I know. But does it matter? It is a 300 meter big demon cyclops
That's why
under Moscow.
That's why I
It's a
started the
flesh
sentence.
god. It doesn't make sense anyways.
Yes.
That's why I started the sentence with, I know this is SCP.
You can start every sentence with that, and you already invalidate most of
yeah.
them.
300 meter stalls. That's
Yes.
a bit more than half of one of the World Trade Center towers.
Yes. He's fucking
Just
huge.
to give you like something to compare it to.
Exactly. He's enormous. DNA scans indicate that actually Orok has gathered this insane mass via consumption of around 100,000 living organisms, be that humans, animals, some other things, anomalous or non-anomalous, we don't know. But he has gathered mass via consumption of these things. Orok can actually be accessed via free, lift, like shafts, like mining shafts. 2 of them have mechanical lifts that go downwards to each appendage. Each shaft leads to a different place. One leads to the stomach, one leads to the chest, and one leads to the skull. The Foundation wanted originally to create other shafts to access these other body parts. The problem is that this is so ancient that probably making or changing the ground in any way or terraforming will probably make the whole temple above it collapse, as well as Moscow.
Oh.
So, yeah, not a good idea. The Foundation said, nah, it's fine.
Jeez.
It would be hard to cover up.
Yeah. I mean, they covered it up when McCain deleted Brazil or Mexico. Sorry,
Yeah.
they covered it up when McCain deleted Mexico. So
I forgot Mexico was deleted.
it was rebuilt by the Foundation. It happened like in 1960 someday.
Yeah, but still, I forgot Mexico was deleted there for a moment.
Yeah, they deleted Mexico.
You ever just forget Mexico doesn't exist?
God damn it, SCPs.
Well, the
great.
it's
funniest.
It's choice.
It's
It's
funny.
the most over-the-top shit ever. I
It's
love
the
it.
best shit.
The shaft connecting to the stomach actually does not have a lift. Instead, this shaft is entirely serves one purpose. All of those grates that were below the torture chambers, they connect to that shaft. So they're basically feeding Orok with a constant stream of blood, guts, and flesh.
Directly into the stomach.
Directly to the stomach,
Efficiency.
yes. Exactly.
So it was ritual disguised as So it was ritual disguised as blood sport.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
Basically.
That answered that question.
A grand total of 3,000 arrows, harpoons, and spears were extracted from the back and just the overall skin of Orok. However, many more still remain. The guy fought against the Deva, and the Deva are like weird elf people that use archery and stuff.
Yeah.
They're not as cool as the Mekhanites, who have like fucking steampunk flamethrowers back in like fucking 600 BC times, and how they did that shit. The Mekhanites are awesome. The Deva, as cool as they are, they kinda cringe. Sarkics and Mekhanites based as fuck.
I mean, they are basically elves, and we all know elves suck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
so,
basically
yeah.
they're not elves per se. I don't know. Deva are. We're gonna talk about the Deva someday soon. They're weird. They're very complicated. They have like a weird book. I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna Deva next some other time.
For now, giant cyclops.
Yes, big Cyclops demon dude is cool. That is around the gist of this episode.
That's
right
the
here.
point of today's discussion. Giant Cyclops dude, cool.
Yes. Orok's flesh actually seems to be in a perpetual state of decaying and regenerating, because he's been sitting there for the better part of like 5,000 years. So he's a little bit bad. He's got a little overripened, I say.
Worst case of bed sores ever.
Probably. After further DNA analysis, however, it appears that remember those drugs that the Black Lodge does, those like super steroids and super Viagra and shit.
Yep.
2A and 2B, yeah.
The source of that is Orok.
Damn.
The flesh of Orok was used for creating these drugs, which makes sense. Because both drugs are basically insane muscle growth.
Insane horny growth, yeah.
Yes, basically. Even though Orok's the horny one, Lavatar is the horny one, but
Insane horny growth.
I might have.
when we talk about Lavatar, you're gonna know what I mean. But I have to.
That's
I
gonna
want-
be a different
you
kind
know-
of horny growth.
I want to talk about Lavatar, but then I would have to talk about the Dracula factory.
Oh god.
And then I would actually vomit.
The what?
The Dracula factory. It is an SCP. It's I think 2919 or something.
Is it at least what I think it is, and that's a factory that produces Draculas?
Yes.
Good.
2191.
2191 is the Dracula factory. It is also one of the most disgusting SCP articles I've ever read in my life. It is. It's disgusting. Anyways, not the point. Big Cyclops guy.
Big Cyclops dude.
So, what is the present day? The present day, because this is all happening in the 90s. Today, the Black Lodge still increased their member count to even higher levels than in the 90s, while the addiction rates to SCP-2408-2B, so the Super Viagra, have reached a basically all of Russia is addicted to that shit, basically.
Like an epidemic, I think.
Epidemic, yes, it has reached epidemic levels.
Jesus.
The Overwatch, and in order to quell the addiction, Overwatch Command has gotten our good friends, the GOC, to handle it.
Oh god.
And so, they basically said that all addicts of 2408-2B are to be captured, contained, and terminated in kill sites.
As GOC does.
GOC, join now, we're gonna kill everyone.
Yay, GOC doing GOC things.
It helps. It helped to spread quite a bit. The Foundation's main goal is to discover the origin of the Red Death virus and contain it, 610. And that is OROK'S fall. That is the big-ass Cyclops guy under Moscow, who is in turn under a cult site under Moscow.
Under him is another dead god.
You know, when I get to present day Church of the Broken God, buried gods are the least of our worries, and they're gonna be happening quite a lot. Buried up gods are kind of like
That was a joke, but now I'm scared.
Well, at one point in SCP, we will understand that there is actually no ground beneath us. It's just buried gods everywhere.
practically, yes.
Oops, it's
Yeah,
all deities.
But yeah, OROK'S fall in the Black Lodge. Silver, you have chosen this topic. I gave you the option of which Sarkic cult we're gonna cover. You chose Black Lodge. Are you happy with your choice?
Weirdly, I'd say yes, because this was fun.
They're pretty cool. They're pretty awesome.
To learn where 610 comes from.
Yeah, 610 originates from a Russian mafia cult.
I love the
Sorry.
Russian name of 610.
Yeah.
Krasnaya Smrt. It's so good.
That's it. It's the Red Death virus.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's so good.
So yeah, closing thoughts, closing feelings on OROK'S fall.
Feelings disgusted.
Fair,
But
fair,
yeah,
fair.
Sarkics.
Sarkics are basically that's basically the whole Sarkic shtick. Like I said, I would originally have another topic orchestrated, because I originally wanted to talk about Ion and his rallying of the Davan slaves, and then the war on the Deva. But that takes a lot of reading, and because I got sick and I had other things to do, I couldn't do it. And OROK'S Fall was just a simple, cool SCP. It has to do with Sarkics, and it's pretty nice. So we're gonna do the Ion episode some other day. I don't know when. Next episode we're gonna of course move away from the whole Sarkic Davan thing, and I'm gonna cover a topic that I wanted for a long time. You of course don't get to know it, but it's gonna be fun.
That doesn't sound ominous at all.
It's not. Don't worry, it's not as bad as OROK'S Fall. Don't worry. But yeah, that was basically OROK'S Fall and our cut short Sarkics chapter. Of course, we're gonna revisit the Sarkics at some point, not just for that Ion episode, but I want to make an episode on every single on some more Sarkic SCPs, and also on the 4 Klavigar as well. Like I said, Lavatar and the Dracula Factory are probably up next for our next Klavigar. And the other ones, Sarn and Nalox, don't really have a big SCP chain to them. I'm gonna figure something out for them. But yeah, that was basically all that we're gonna have to talk about today. Thank you all so much for listening. Again, thank you very much to the overwhelming support, honestly, on the videos. It's been pretty cool. We're small, but we're a decent size to where I think, yay, I'm happy. If you like the things that we do here, of course, consider subscribing and following us on Twitter for mainly memes. Yeah, mainly memes. And hey, what? It's true. Come on.
Yeah.
And of course, subscribing of course helps us reach a higher audience, so that we can have more people who are willing to learn about SCP and the wonderful and horrible stuff that is in this beautiful, beautiful universe. So yeah, again, thank you all so much for listening, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.